This is Doom, the Dark Ages. We're here on PlayStation 5 Pro. The game is indeed enhanced. Be sure to like the video. Subscribing is great as well. Yep, it's Doom, the Dark Ages, PlayStation 5 Pro enhanced. So this is a few levels into the game. If you're wondering if there's spoilers or anything like that, there really shouldn't be. It's just kind of showing you some of the characters, giving you an idea of the cinematics, and we're gonna dive in, smash some skulls, everything like that. You know, the whole typical experience that is expected when it comes to Doom. So, yeah, basically there's a huge war waging on. The demonic side is causing all these problems. You guys are fighting Slayer dudes all tethered to this ethereal thing in the sky, and they kind of decide if they want to drop the Slayer down. Slayer doesn't really like that idea. Slayer gets really mad, goes around, smashes, and breaks a bunch of things. It's pretty lengthy. I think it was like just about 9 hours for me to whip through it really, really fast, but it's going to take you a lot longer. And then there's multiple difficulty options. There's some side activity things you can get into, and yeah, it's got a range of content here as you become the Slayer in a medieval war against the fiery demons below. So yeah, it is a prequel to Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal, so it takes place before. It is a new story. It is a new, fresh thing. It is much more cinematic driven, but let's be real here, the cinematics are mostly a couple people talk exposition, Doomslayer goes or he nods and goes around and just kills a bunch of people. And it's just pure rage. But yeah, there's quite a few chapters in this. There's no tacked on multiplayer or anything like that, so it's just the single player experience, which, you know, works pretty well in this one, I would say, for sure. I quite like that this is the setup for the game. We're going to go ahead and we're just going to jump into the action. Obviously, things happen, and Doomslayer finds himself down here. And, you know, it's time to go and rip and tear onto the battlefield, which is certainly the way to go about things. So anyways, it's a very impressive game from a technical standpoint. It looks absolutely fantastic here. The sense of scale and detail is just excellent. It's the weapons, the tools, the guns you know, but done in a bit of a medieval factoring and styling, which is quite entertaining and a lot of fun to see as you go about exploring this crazy world, these crazy battles. It's over the top, it's ridiculous, it's action-packed, and quite chaotic. Like, they definitely did change things quite a bit in this one too in terms of movement. It seems like with every one of the Dooms, they are kind of going in like a different direction in regards to how it's played and just sort of how you do the battling and the combat. So this one is kind of embracing, to a degree, the souls of it all. And I say that in the sense that it's like a very parry-focused game. You are blocking and using your shield all the time. It seems like the team was just a big fan of like Captain America or something, because it's like the whole thing is based around using your mighty shield to just absolutely rip and tear enemies. And it's kind of funny because right now my hand is like sore from doing the gauntlet. Like I did like a full stream where I went through like all 9 hours of it in a row, and yeah, I've actually got soreness in my hand, which is kind of funny for sure. But anyways, yeah, you just kind of whip through the environment. It's a little bit more of a ground movement sort of thing. You got all these different weapons that you will be upgrading and improving, and there's all this leveling stuff. And if you hear that little extra tinging sound, that is the controller. So for this one, I think they definitely heard some of the thoughts that people were having in regards to what we were getting with the previous Doom Eternal experience, which was like, it was kind of tiring. Honestly, like, it is exhausting to play Doom Eternal. Like, it is tiring. The Marauders were nuts. And this game kind of finds, I think, a bit of a happy balance between Doom 2016 and, well, Doom Eternal, just in terms of gameplay, and also doing some new stuff. Like, a lot of it is based around your shield and using that shield to, again, kind of do parrying, and that's sort of like weird, because it's like, to me, it feels a little Souls-like in that regard, where it's like, oh, I'm constantly like parrying, and that's kind of the big divider for the different difficulties in this game, is that the fact that you are, you know, how much of a parry window you have is basically a big thing, and the actual difficulty of the experience itself too. So you're probably wondering about the technical elements of the game. So Doom, Doom the Dark Ages, for me ran really, really well on the PlayStation 5 Pro. I didn't really notice any issues. It seemed to be all kind of smooth. I picked this area here for the review because I found it to be the most demanding, where there was like a little second where maybe there was like a little bit of a drop, but for me performance in this was like just rock solid the whole way through, or at least not noticeable enough for me to have any sort of problems the whole time, and at least I didn't notice any issues. So this game, being PlayStation 5 Pro Enhanced, it's just a little bit of a higher resolution thing. Like everything in this is being, you know, upscaled to 4K, but this one has an internal thing that's like just slightly sub 1700p or so, and 60 FPS, which is kind of expected. Like, it looks absolutely fantastic. It is just like a visual kind of treat here, I would say. Like, again, the sense of scale within the environments is just absolutely spectacular. Like, it looks just absolutely amazing. And then, like I was saying, that scale, where you're seeing big mountains, you're seeing all these areas, the conflict in that is just ever so exciting as you go about, like, just smashing and creatures. And there's a lot going on in this game, and it's really kind of cool to see that all kind of going off. Because, like, you really do feel like you're in this huge ongoing set of battles at times, even if it is things just, like, going off way in the distance. So just to continue on with the settings, there's lots of gameplay choices and then a suite of accessibility choices that you can make too, which are all things that like Xbox kind of mandates and puts into their titles in the modern era. Lots of UI settings. But for gameplay, there's the difficulty, and then there's the modifiers for how easy or hard you want this to be. But I wanted to mention that there is like an FOV option you can choose, your depth of field, sharpening, chromatic stuff, motion blur. So those are all settings that you can choose to adjust within the game if you want to, you know, basically just change aesthetically how the game is going. And there is controller sounds, which you've been hearing. I've left them on because I feel like they add a little bit to the immersion, but I did have to lower the sound of them because I did find it to be like a little obnoxious. So just, you know, be wary that like that is something you can turn off, but it's kind of cool. It feels great on the DualSense. I mean, as an enhanced modern game really should. But I thought that was something that was worth mentioning because a lot of people ask. Then yeah, as far as a shooter game, I think it's right in line with what we've been experiencing with the other Doom games. It is a little disappointing that like melee has really been de-emphasized in, you know, focus of parrying, because I think that's something, again, where a little bit of a Souls aspect of it seems to have leaked into like every game. And I know that's not what a Souls like thing is. You know, I've played lots of Souls games, I know, but I'm just saying the idea of like kind of parrying and that in Doom it's a little weird, right? Like it is a little odd. But yeah, you're not really doing like the glory kind of kills and stuff anymore. You're basically just going about kind of, you know, shooting things for the most part, and then using your shield to, you know, bash stuff or block things or send block things back. And yeah, there's sort of like a counter that you kind of build up, and then there's a few different counters that you kind of like unlock, as to say, and then a few different weapons. Like I've got like this really cool flame kind of thing going on, which is awesome. And then from there, you like upgrade your different weapons. I'm trying to show off a few of the different guns and stuff that exist within this, and you can kind of get an idea from seeing how they shoot and how they act. Basically, the comparison in regards to like what the modern equivalent would be. Why aren't we blocking? My block is not working at all. That's not good. Eh? Okay, there we go. Yeah, that was weird. My block just stopped working. Like I wasn't able to block with my shield. I got like 5 health. There we go, that one's dead. But yeah, you grab weapons. There's a bunch of them that you can unlock. All these cool different attacks. Like this thing shoots like a ball. Doesn't even make sense, but you kind of get where the origins of the guns and stuff are from. And then you can see it's got like a bit of a silly kind of interesting kind of hit, and then you just keep whipping your shield around. And then there's also the Ravager thing. This is fun. It like shoots bones. It like mulches down bones and shoots them at enemies for some reason. Why? I don't know. It's cool. And then yeah, you kind of upgrade all these guns through collectibles or money that you find within the world, literal gold that you are collecting along the way. And then you kind of just decimate all the enemies, and you get better abilities. Like I said, I think there's a few different melee options you kind of unlock over the course of the game. And then when you're going through the environment, it's the same sort of thing as usual. You will go around gathering pieces of armor, pieces of health. You can get health by, like, destroying your enemies with melee, and you can kind of upgrade those as well. And then there are lots of secrets and little hidden things and extra places to get gold and money from in order to decimate your opponents even more as you go about destroying everything that gets in your way. And by the end of it, you feel pretty strong and powerful. Like, you know, you are killing the same sort of enemies over and over and over again for, you know, many hours of gameplay. And, you know, that's just kind of the styling. And I would say that it works effective enough. Like, there is a good variety of enemies here from a gameplay perspective, and I'm not gonna, you know, spoil things because there are some genuinely really great surprises in terms of story and some places that I didn't think we would go, and I'm gonna have to talk to my Tomb lore guy to try to figure out some of the realm-like elements of it, which makes sense if you play it, because they have some seriously cool levels. Like, the stuff here almost feels like boring compared to some of the, like, the later levels, and I don't want to spoil those because I think they're really, really fun to play. And I think if you go and you play it after listening to this, and you get to those levels, you'll be like, oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. And yeah, I think you'll just be absolutely enthralled by how cool that kind of stuff is when you get there. And there's all kinds of new, like, different movement mechanics too, and some good puzzles that keep the flow of the action going, where you're not kind of like stopped at any point, you're always moving, you're always going about. Which is kind of something you expect from these modern Dooms, is that you are always on the move, which is, you know, kind of exciting because it just flows really naturally. But as I said, I didn't feel as tired playing this as when I played Doom Eternal. Like, Doom Eternal I found really, really intense. Like, Doom 2016, I definitely got, like, a little bit tired when playing it, like, just mentally just, like, exhausted. More so in Doom Eternal. And then for Doom 2016 it wasn't as bad because I just literally revisited that. But like this one, as I was saying, seems to be the happy medium for me, where I'm not feeling, you know, just overwhelmed by what's going on, which I think is absolutely fantastic and what you kind of want when you're playing. And I mean, different players have different skill levels too, right? But yeah, there was just a lot of like, wow, I am so genuinely tired. And that in itself can be, oh, there's like a hidden area down here. That in itself can be a little exhausting if you are trying to, you know, successfully move through the game and play through it. You don't want to get too tired while you're playing. Oh, there's like a whole little area here. Oh, I can't open this? That's genuinely a bit disappointing. Breathtaking backdrops, though, eh? Okay, so there's some other stuff, too. The game has some bombastic, large action sequences. So, most of the game you're doing this stuff. But there are portions of the game where you are kind of in these large things. And I don't think it's too spoilers to talk about. But there are scenarios where you are kind of riding, like, in a giant mech. Which is super cool. So you're in like a huge mech and you just get to smash and break things and totally destroy stuff. And those are really cool power trip moments. And then there's like points where you are essentially in what is a dragon. Like on a dragon. So you're riding a dragon. And I had some, honestly, I had some issues with the dragon parts. Because for me, the dragon parts were the things I was like most excited about and most looking forward to, because riding a dragon is awesome. But, like, yeah, I genuinely felt that the dragon parts of the game were probably the weakest parts of the game. Like, it was really strange. Like, it felt like it was just on rails. Like, it was a game from, you know, it's like, what, Panzer Dragoon or Crimson Dragon or stuff like that. And it's really weird because it's just sort of like aim, and then you press a button to dodge, and then you shoot. And that's kind of like it. And it just felt really genuinely underwhelming from a perspective of, like, wanting really, really cool dragon parts. Like, spots where you play as dragons. And I really didn't understand why they, like, I felt like I was more focused on just dodge aiming instead of taking in, like, the wonder of a large area of being a dragon. Which to me was incredibly disappointing because I think those segments could have been so much cooler. And, like, you get on a dragon, and then you immediately get off the dragon. So you're only on the dragon for, like, literally 2 seconds. Like, you go on the... Like, even the segments where you're on the dragon for, like, a minute or so, you're, like, immediately rushing to get off the dragon. And I was just like, why even, like, bother doing a dragon portion if you're just not going to have us, like, fly around on the dragon for more than 2 seconds? And I thought that was super weird, because, like, it looks awesome. And I thought it would be really, really cool being on a dragon. And, like, just compared to everything else, I was just like, what is the point of this stuff? There's some, like, really awkward, like, I want to say, like, loading segments based on that. Like, there's one part where you literally got off the dragon and then got back on the dragon. And I think it was just a straight-up loading screen. I think it was just to try to hide a loading screen between areas, because it was one of the most bizarre segments in a video game I've ever seen. Like, you literally get off and then immediately get back on in 10 seconds. And I was just like, what? It was really, really weird. So, yeah, just kind of keep that in mind as far as the dragon stuff. It definitely left, to me, a lot to be desired, because you would think that a dragon portion would be, like, super, super cool. And then I was just, like, totally disappointed by it. I wanted the dragon segments to be so much more than they were. But other than that, it's really well done. The gameplay moves fast. It's exciting. If you've played the previous Dooms of the modern era, you know, the previous aesthetics of Doom and, like, the modern incarnation and take on it, I think you'll be quite happy by what this has to offer. I think you'll have a lot of fun with it. It is nice that they are moving more towards a semblance of a story, but I still think they need to do a bit more of, like, character development. Like, you know, he's awesome, he's cool, he goes in, he smashes, he breaks everything, you know. He's just, like, he's a straight-up awesome character. I love the Doomslayer, everything like that. It's totally fine. Like, it doesn't necessarily need that stuff, but, like, you could see they were wanting to kind of lean more into that, and I think it's okay if they tried to do more story characterization of the Doomslayer. I don't think I would have a problem with that personally, but yeah, it is just kind of like you go from point A to point B, just like absolutely destroying every little thing that gets in your way, and it's fun and it's interesting, and the changes in the gameplay will either be something that, like, yeah, it really resonates with you, or you find it a bit weird, but that's gonna be up to the individual and your thoughts on the gameplay formulas that have kind of built up over the previous games. But I think I relatively captured the full scope of this one, just in terms of, like, what exactly you're doing. Like, there's still side stuff outside of the, you know, main story. There's things you can find. There's tons of secrets, collectibles, other items you can gather. Like, you get your full, you know, you get your full Doom experience out of it, which is what you expect. You smash and break things, and you're either going to be for the changes in this one or not for the changes. And I'm sure when they inevitably do another one in some sort of other section or segment, and whatever story they want to produce, they'll change things up again, and, you know, we'll have different gameplay changes, and it's evolving, which is what you kind of expect too, right? Like, you don't want them to necessarily put out the same game over and over again, but you do want it to be familiar enough that you're not bothered by it, and you do want it to change a little bit between releases, which I think is, to me, quite fair, I would say. Like, I think it is fair to expect familiar, but fair to want something that is getting evolved across iterations. And I think they've put together what is a pretty compelling and fun time by the end of it. I quite liked what I had played. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was right out there in line with the other Doom experiences of the modern era. It just really comes down to whether or not, you know, gameplay changes, story changes, and stuff are fully of interest for you, or you find them too weird. I don't know. It's going to be up to personal preference on that. But I think they put together a pretty mighty Dark Ages time. It's really fun. It's gnarly. The combat's cool and exciting. The weapons you get to use are neat. And there's just a lot to see and a lot to do and a lot to experience, and it's a great time. It really is. Like, some of those ethereal type areas you go to are just absolutely insane. So I'll see you out there in the Dark Ages.